So recently I made a video on how to practice Japanese through using Vtubers, and a lot of the tips were for those who already had experience in the language. So here are 4 tips for learning Japanese from the basics. Before we dive into tips, I just want to preface that everyone's learning style is different, and if you're already bilingual, it may be a little easier to pick up on the language than someone who's monolingual. I honestly don't think age has anything to do with how easy or hard it is to pick up another language. You just have to work on it based on what works and what doesn't for you personally. So tip 1 will focus on reading hiragana, katakana, and some easy kanji. I highly recommend you take time to learn the kana system on your own by using flashcards or a textbook, PDF, or some pictures you find off of Google first, because there really is no way to pick up the reading system simply through listening to spoken Japanese. But to practice and get better at reading quickly, using Vtubers is a great and fun option. Vtubers, especially those with a Japanese background like Ilira, Sunny, Shu, Meloko, and so on, often post their schedules for the week with some easy-to-grasp kanji, or may even tweet simple Japanese phrases. Even if you don't know what the meaning is, you should take a few seconds to read out the letters as quick as you can, even if that means supplementing the kanji with something something, before moving on to the next hiragana letter. Here is an example. この後、ゲリラ something something やると something たら、皆さん、はるばる something でくださいます? And of course, after that, you can translate the tweet using the Twitter translate function to see if you could catch any meaning of the words, especially if there is a katakana word present. Another thing you can do is check out their Twitter bios. Everyone credits their mama and papa for their model rig, so you can easily associate these katakana with their according sounds. For kanji, most Japanese VTubers have this in their weekly schedules, for the kanji representing the days of the week, and the more you repeatedly see it, the quicker you remember what Tuesday is in kanji. With kanji, it's okay to not know what sound it makes as long as you know what it means, at least for these beginning stages of learning Japanese. Tip 2 will focus on listening skills. I personally believe that listening is the most important part of language learning because you can pick up on so much even if you don't fully understand what they're saying. As long as you grasp key words and grammar points, you can basically understand and then be able to respond. First, I would train your ear to hear the basic key words for forming questions like itsu, doko, nani, dare, naze, and do. These should be fairly easy since they appear at the beginning of the sentence and alert you to what comes next as being a question, or they come at the very end. From there, hone in to nouns. You may not catch everything, but if you can hear kotoka, spoon, and doko, you can pretty much guess that the question is kotoka, where is the spoon? This may be challenging at first, so instead of watching Zatudans where it's 100% talking and no visual aids, you can watch gameplay clips with subtitles, so 1, you know the context and maybe can guess through what's going on in the game alone to understand the question, and 2, you can cover up the subtitles first and then check your answer after. Anything you don't quite nail, write it down and work on remembering it in flashcards on the side. You will find that the amount of words you can pick up will gradually increase, especially if they're repeat words. Tip 3 will focus on responding. Now, this might feel strange if you're just talking aloud to your computer screen, but I promise this conditioning can be very useful later down the line. In Japanese culture, it's very prominent to do something called active listening, which basically means going or hai or so da ne every so often to show the speaker that you are understanding and are focused. Doing this tip can train you to naturally pull out specific words and responses for any conversation without much thought. So here I would use a Japanese Zatsudan clip or stream depending on your comfort level with understanding, and just try to pretend that you're speaking one-on-one with the liver. You can sort of see that chat already does this with or kusa, but typing is very different from speaking. So here is an example of what that would sound like, as stupid as it may feel.
キーボードあれですね。
何？
昔は、リズムゲームパソコンのめっちゃやってたんで、それでカタカタカタカタやってたのが、うるさいって言われたんだと思います。なんていうか結構奥が深いんですよ、キーボードって。
僕もそれ。
僕的には、あまりそういうおすすめみたいなのはまだ自分的にはないんですけど。
ないね。それは難しい。
あれですね。
As you can see, I'm using one-word answers, and that's completely acceptable in real conversation. If you think you can pull out a long sentence, pause the clip and try to actually respond with your own thoughts. キーボードのおすすめ？ないかな。最近新しいキーボードを買ったんだけど、ちょっとうるさい。僕もちょっと困ってるんです。Not only does this help solidify new vocab, this also strengthens confidence in speaking, and maybe you'll be able to whip out the Japanese when you go to a Japanese restaurant or talk to a Japanese speaker. Finally, tip 4 will focus on writing. Now, I find this to be the most difficult thing to do, especially when the VTuber medium is entirely online and typing is not the same as handwriting. However, there is a way to slowly train and memorize how to write kana. Again, this will be using Japanese zatsudan or gameplay clips, and all you have to do is write down the sounds or words you hear into hiragana or katakana.
よし。いいね、今回なんか構成イケイケな感じだ。
It doesn't matter if it's correct spelling, you just want to listen to the sounds and transcribe it as quickly as you can. This requires you to already have a decent sense of the writing system, which unfortunately you're gonna have to learn on your own through PDF, textbook, whatever. If you want to start writing actual sentences, you can take from tip 3 and not only speak out your sentence, but write it down in whatever kana you are currently practicing. On a more technical note, you can read Japanese tweets and write them down as best as you can, and then underline or circle different sections of the grammar like particles, nouns, question indicators, and find the pattern of where each section is placed within the sentence. From there, try to write your own version of the sentence with some modifications. For example, if Pekora wrote, 今日はマイクラやりますか? You can use this structure to write, 明日ゲームしますか? And then you can throw that into Google Translate or DeepL or whatever translation service you use and see if what comes out makes sense. Even better if you can ask a Japanese speaker or teacher if your sentences are correct. Studying the basics of language is pretty intense, but I highly suggest that you invest in a textbook, or if you're in college or school, try pick up a Japanese class. Once you get the basics out of the way, it's so much easier to absorb more vocab, grammar, and speech habits because you'll already understand how they come to be and can be used. Learning through VTubers can be a fun way to practice and reflect on previous content you studied before, but it falls short on actually being able to teach you everything you need to know. Some livers do host Japanese learning streams, or you can even catch a learner studying Duolingo and practice with them, but for the long term of getting better at Japanese, it's just not enough.
俺の日本語は下手です。
With that said, good luck on your Japanese adventures! I recommend the textbooks Genki and the N5 and N4 JLPT study books for learning the basics if you want to self-study. If there's interest on learning about speech habits and making your Japanese sound more fluent without a strong foreign accent, let me know and I'll make another video. Alrighty, bye bye!